our Furina. Wow, it has been a pretty long journey. Well, if we were to be talking about ever since she was released, I'd say it's basically over a month at this point. But for those of you who have been looking forward for Furina, like me, it actually have been way longer than that. We've been discussing about False Law for like over a year now. And yes, at this very point, it is already her post-release. And ever since I had managed to pull for Furina, I've been spending hours upon hours using Furina and playing around with her and looking into testing every possible thing that Furina has to offer, which is why today I kind of want to have like a post-release review, basically having brutally honest opinions on Furina after spending a lot of time with her. So guys, this is going to be a very fun video. Be sure to stick around until the end to see whether or not Furina really is a character that lived up to her hype and expectation before her release. Now guys, before we actually hop into the specific review of everything that's regarding, you know, the meta and stuff like that, since this is going to be a full review regarding Furina, I will obviously going to be dropping my opinions about Furina as a character regarding the Archon quest, because if you're someone who have already played through the quest, I'm sure that the quest have left a very impactful impression on whoever you are, because the quest was actually a masterpiece. Now, if you're someone who haven't actually went through the Archon quest in whole, then I do say that this part is going to be featuring slight spoilers from all of the 5 acts of Fontaine Archon quest, so if you do want to skip, you can go right ahead and skip to my review on Furina's design. So if you're someone who was really interested in Furina, I'm sure that you have already been aware of her way longer than before she was actually announced or even released. Well, before the Furina name actually was a thing, we mostly known her as Focalor, and yes, from some weird reason, basically a year before she was released, her character design was, you know, kind of leaked and it looked basically exactly the same as her release design, which is kind of surprising considering most of the other Archon leak way before was never correct. But from the very start, I pretty much like her character design because it looks very flashy and yeah, she looks absolutely beautiful. And so the Archon quest began, and the very first thing that hit our face when we stepped into Fontaine was Furina. Well, of course there was Linny and Lynette, but the biggest part of that story was definitely Furina because she makes such a debut.
I, Focalor, hereby welcome you to the nation of Hydro and acknowledge the value and significance of your trip.
And I'm sure that most of our impression back then would be, well, she's basically Fischl 2.0. Or who knows, Fischl was actually inspired by Furina and became her characteristic. But honestly, I didn't hate her per se. I would say that I was kind of okay because Furina actually changed up the character personality dynamic, giving Genshin characters more diversified characteristic style. Otherwise, if every character in Genshin you meet had that one and only, you know, nice guys or girl personality, it would ultimately be absolutely boring by the time they release their like 500th character or something. Right, so I was quite open to changes, plus I'm sure many are unhappy about it, but then yes, at the end of the day, it's not like a character is made to suit every player's cup of tea, right? That's why we have diversified personalities so that they have character that is enjoyable for everyone. But all in all, the truth is I already had a feeling that it's not her true personality and there's definitely more to her than meets the eye, which definitely becomes more apparent as the act goes on. And yes, the final act comes, which of course, what can I say apart from the fact that it's literally the best Genshin Impact story act by far anything that was released in the game. Hoyoverse have put in so much work into this act, giving us Act 5. If I'm being honest, actually it's basically 6 acts because Act 5 was like 5 or 6 hours of story, providing us an absolutely complete story of Furina, creating her to be one of, if not the deepest character we've got to date. At that point, I'm sure many of us has had a completely different perspective of her, for with everything that she has been through, enduring for 500 years. I just have to give my hats off to her, man. Being basically in depression, hopeless hopelessness, loneliness for 500 years. Imagine us being like that for a whole year. Many would have gone insane, yet she endured it for 500 years for the sake of Fontaine people. And yeah, even when the Traveler have proven that she has nothing to do with Tevat's matter and Furina has all the right to share, she still wouldn't even share a word. Which leads us to the part where, standing in front of the trial, she would dip her hand into the primordial sea water knowing that it would dissolve her. Yet she did it anyway, showing how readily she is to sacrificing herself for Fontaine. And yes, there's that whole part about Focalors afterward too, but I can't obviously cover everything talking about the Act 5, otherwise this video is going to take forever. However, I would say that Fontaine Archon Quest has left a very deep impression on me, and yes, after everything, Furina had quite literally became one of my most favorite characters, still after Kuching of course, but super duper close, and I'm sure it has been the same for many of us as well. And so guys, that's basically me saying on Furina as a character within the story quest. Now we move on to discussing about everything regarding her kit design and what has she been able to do regarding the meta as a whole in Genshin Impact. I would say guys that Furina has very unique design, and Hojoverse has given her a lot of unique skill. First thing is regarding her character design and outfit as a whole. Guys, I can't stop looking at her specific outfit design because it looks absolutely fantastic. But of course Hojoverse didn't stop there, and they went ahead and actually gave her ability of 2 Archie alignment. Both Uzia and Numa is within her reach. And then, as if it's not enough, they actually had both different design depending on her alignment, and also having access to long or short hair depending on the alignment as well. But the most impressive thing regarding her exploring kit is of the ability to walk on water with 100% uptime. With Furina on team, you're able to basically just walk on water wherever you want to go. Now of course the ability to walk on water has happened before, but it was very hard and took a lot of work. Kaya Ice Bridge or Kokomi was able to do that, but it only lasts for around 8 seconds or something. But now with Furina, yes, you just press a button and then voila, go ahead, walk on water for however long you like. But then yes, that's only the overall design of Furina. However, when it comes to her battling ability, what she basically does guys is that she is a sub DPS character for the team that has the ability to scale her numbers to very high because her kit supports a lot regarding that. However, one of the more important things is that she has access to 75% damage buff at max talent C0 for your whole team, which basically means she's one of, if not the best buffer in the game, due to how high her buffing can get and the ease of acquiring it, because you only need your team to constantly lose HP as fast as possible to get the maximum stacks as fast as you can. And other than that, she has access to hydro application and healing capability, though it's only minor, but it does have its usage here and there. So those are basically Furina's skill and kits. However, is it that powerful, and how useful is her kit really is? So however you look at it, what she is doing might look to be quite similar towards Xingqiu and Yelan, for you've got your sub DPS ability and hydro application. Her sub DPS power level is on par and sometimes can be even better than Yelan due to all the damage buff that she has for her skill, but her application is not good and actually is the worst out of the 3, and in generally speaking, you will not be relying on her hydro application on the team, for if she is, she would most of the time has energy issue, unless of course you invest a lot of energy recharge onto her. Plus she really can't sustain hydro for you if she's so hydro, and there is no hydro resonance, meaning you're losing out on that 25% HP bonus. So in other words, we can already know that she being a top tier, for of course she's very much on par with Yelan. However, she's not as diversified as she would be to Yelan or Xingqiu, and would really much like to work together on the same team as them. But on top of everything that she is able to do, there has been a huge impact towards the meta when Furina was arrived, because Furina was able to revolutionize so many teams as well as characters. Furina is quite, I would say, game breaking, not in the way that she's slappable on every single team, which she really isn't. Like most of the time she's not used on Dendro based team at all, but where she really shine is making characters that were actually not that good into something way better, making certain characters strong enough to be winnable again and to be a decent recommendation of using. Basically, not many other characters in the game can do this. It's kind of like pretty much a C6 Farazan towards Xiao and Wanderer, but Furina is able to do this on a whole wide variety of characters. She's been able to buff character like Jin, which is kind of like, you know, Jin and Furina is a lot better than Kaze and Xingqiu combo when it comes to, you know, buffing and healing capability. And you also have, you know, Bennett. If you want to run kind of like a hyper carry and stuff, Bennett usage with Furina can be a little bit underrated at times because, you know, Bennett doesn't have access to whole team healing, for Furina does suck out your HP for the whole team. But guys, don't forget that, yeah, you're maybe not getting the max stacks of her E skill, but a lot of the times you don't really need to care because Bennett alone is giving you basically 1000 attack buff, which is really a lot already, which is why Bennett is still very much good alongside with Furina. Generally, the best healer going with Furina right now is Jin, Bennett, and Baizu. Any other healer would be a little bit cope. Obviously, they're still usable, but surely won't be as good. Unless you're running in like a mono Hydra team, then yes, Kokomi would be good there. But there's been so many characters that was buffed alongside with Furina release. Character that got the most buff would be Hu Tao, definitely. Other character comparatively would be Noelle, got massive buff from Furina. Character like Rasley and Klee has got an insane new partner on their team, making them performing on a whole different level. And yes, when speaking about team comps, there's been many different teams that's been upgraded with Furina release as well. I can't really go in depth into the team, for I've already made a very specific video talking about the best team that Furina features in. So yes, you can definitely check that video out after this. And so after everything that we have been talking about Furina, how good would I say Furina really is? Does she actually live up to her expectation? And so the answer to the question, is she worth it, is definitely 1000%. You will never regret having Furina on your team, especially if you're someone who loves Furina as a character. Now, is she a must pull? That would be a no, for there is no must pull character in Genshin Impact, but as we have discussed, she's an absolutely amazing character that definitely is really fun to have. Of course, there are downsides to Furina as with character, but pros just outweigh so much, and she just opened up so many different teams and character playstyle for you to enjoy. Therefore, it's not just about having Furina on your account, but how much she would be affecting it alongside with other character you have on your account. So guys, that's basically everything I have to say regarding Furina after her release. I just really love Furina as a character, and in terms of her playstyle as well, she's a very fun character to have, making water walking live in Genshin Impact a lot easier for me. And yes, she's definitely going to be one of my most favorite characters till the end of the game. I hope you did really much enjoy the video, guys. Now I have a very in-depth video regarding Furina team builds, so if you haven't already checked out the video, guys, be sure to click on the video, as I'm sure it will be very valuable to you. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, as I post a lot of fun video regarding Genshin Impact like this and the most updated guides and builds, which will help you out a lot. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me to this part of the video, guys, and with that, I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on my next video.